Hello, my name's Diana. This is my creepy school story. How my mistake almost made me a victim of my crazy teacher. Never repeat it. For some reason, messengers weren't that popular in our school. We communicated in the old way, with notes on sheets that were tossed to each other. It may not be really up to date, but we all liked it. It was kinda warm for us. I don't know. We collected really cool lines in a separate notebook. Our class wanted to add these notes to the graduation album, just as a memory. So when it came to me to telling my boyfriend I loved him, I didn't think much. I dashed a note with hearts and threw the little plane into his shaggy top. Who knew? Anyway, I wasn't that good of aerodynamics. The note didn't fall on the guy's desk, as I had hoped, but it got right onto my teacher's back. He was writing something on the board. For you to understand how crooked my hands were, the guy was sitting one desk closer to the board, 3 rows away from me, and the note flew just straight. Anyway, my plain note, with hearts and love confession, was in our chemistry teacher's hands. I'd say he was like a dried fruit. He was old, naughty, and always stinking with something between fume and gunpowder. Anyway, I wouldn't advise you to stand next to him. I was happy I didn't sign the note. Well, I'm not so smart. Yeah. And I didn't guess he knew all our handwriting for 5 years of working with our class like a professional graphologist. The teacher picked up the note and put it in his pocket without looking at it. He only hissed something, spitting on the first rows. Nothing special happened that time. But later, I started noticing Mr. Semsey treated me in a really strange way. Well, that is, he was never adequate. But with me, he became looser in the beans. No, he didn't do anything bad though. I don't even know how to explain it. At first, they were just glances. Girls will understand this. You know the feeling when someone strips you with his eyes? Just imagine that obscenity is made by your old and nasty teacher. And from the side, it seems like nothing happened. But I felt it. And I didn't understand what it was. Senility or something was wrong with me. And then, it got a lot worse. He started to leave me after classes, like on business, but regularly. My teacher told me something about my talent for chemistry, though I didn't have any, and that he was ready to teach me everything he knew. At the time, he put his hands in the wrong places on my body each time. But again, I had nothing I could present to him. Well, he stroked my head. Well, put his hand on my shoulder. But still, it was disgusting. It seemed to me he was chasing me. I always felt this terrible smell near me. It could belong only to my teacher. And honestly, I started to bother about the situation. It dawned on me when Mr. Senzit brought my boyfriend to almost school expulsion for some nonsense. Because we were kissing each other in the hallway during the break. And no, it's not my imagination. He personally told me this, saying that I either would completely devote myself to science and my genius, or spend my life on all sorts of nonsense with my stupid peers. That's where I burst up. When I asked why I should fall at his old feet, he showed me, ta-dam, my note. I almost bent over in shame, and understanding my trick became, this. I just didn't know what to do. Refusing him would spell doom for my academic performance. And accepting his proposal? Well, it would be better to just switch schools and forever forget about the whole ordeal. On my side was only that he was really of a decent age, and it wouldn't go further than chemistry classes and, maximum, stroking my shoulder. But it was exactly this that stopped me from complaining to the principal. And this note, in fact, I myself was the first to flirt with him. Any attorney would confirm this, even if it wasn't like this at all. Anyway, on facing the most difficult dilemma in my life, I chose science. Yeah, I decided my teacher's special attitude would help me with my studies, and if not, then I would have extra private classes. Free ones. This was the dream of any smart person. My boyfriend and me had to split up, though. He still didn't understand my genial move, but I didn't expect Mr. Semzit would believe in my false love declaration so much he wouldn't pity me or his career. Day by day, I found myself in a bigger trap than before, because his strokes became more and more frank, and I was no longer happy at all. I didn't know how to say that the note was simply an unsuccessful love admission to my boyfriend, not to an elderly teacher. I just didn't know what to do because my academic performance was at stake. And on the other side of the balance, there was my honor and psyche. As a result, not being brave enough just to talk to him, I didn't come up with anything better than to go to the principal and complain about the teacher's behavior. I don't know if they believed me or simply took advantage of what I said, but almost the next day, Mr. Semzit was fired. To be closer, he seemed to just retire. But in the middle of the school year, even the first graders didn't believe this. Since then, only one thought that he's been spinning in my head. It's my fault. If it hadn't been for the stupid note, if I hadn't been a little braver, if I don't have enough courage to find everything out directly, but I asked my friends. Mr. Semzit never left home after being fired. He seemed to be going crazy from loneliness because he had nothing but school in his life.
Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Semzit, and I was Diana's chemistry teacher before the incident. And the situation isn't that simple. You see, I'm 71, and my life now resembles a nightmare. I've lost my job, I have no friends or family to speak of, I've got no savings. All I've got now is a minuscule pension, no future, and no hope. I became a teacher when I was young and naive. I really wanted to help kids, to bring them up, to show them scientific miracles. Boy, how I was mistaken. To think that one girl's unjustified complaint would be enough to ruin me completely. Quite sad, actually. The kids in our school were always into that secret note stuff. We teachers didn't mind. Some of us still yelled at those pupils who spent their time writing notes to each other instead of studying, but even those were pretty much used to it. So when the girls' paper airplane flew into my back, I wasn't too surprised. But then I read the note, and everything changed. Be assured, I had zero romantic feelings for the girl. I just wanted to save her from herself. You see, Diana was a really smart and talented kid, but the guy she fell in love with was a jock in the worst sense of the word. Not a talented sportsman by far, not a gifted boy, nothing, but a spoiled kid with an inflated ego. I agree, Diana's personal life was her own business. It was bad for me to even try to influence her. Still, I felt that I had to try to save her from herself. Soon, Diana became one of my star pupils. She attended my additional classes and proved herself a talented chemist. Funny thing is, we were never alone. My chemistry lab was an open space of sorts, divided by partitions into several cabinets. There were always some kids there, my other star pupils, and I gave equal care and attention to all of them. Unfortunately, I didn't take into account Diana's romantic obsession. Now, she had no boyfriend to dote on, so she needed some target for her feelings. I don't really know why she chose me, an old teacher. Sad thing is, I was too old to properly identify her feelings, and that cost me my career. Guess at one point her fantasies became too much for her, but instead of talking about her problems with her school therapist, with her friends, or even with me, she decided to immediately reach out to our headmaster. And at that point, my life was ruined. Don't really know whether the headmaster believed her story or not. No matter what he thought, he had to do something. And he was too busy to conduct an inquiry. The officials just ordered me to quit. Otherwise, they'd tell the whole city that I was a lecher and a molester. That's how it ended. My illustrious career, my achievements, my experience were all destroyed by one girl's false claim. Funny thing is, people in our city still made their own assumptions on the matter. And now I've lost all my friends because of that. No one actually convicted me guilty, but everyone's somehow sure that I'm a fiend. I can't possibly find a job now. No one would take a person with such a reputation as a teacher, and I'm too old to learn another trade's tricks. Of course, I always can retire, but retired teachers get very little money. I can't even afford to pay for my rent anymore. My only future consists of several more years at a free shelter for elderly people. I've got nowhere else to move to. Still, I can't understand why everyone was so eager to believe Diana's words. I can't believe that everything I did during my whole life was in vain. Guess I should have focused on making a family of my own and raising my own kids instead of trying to help the world. Unfortunately, it's already too late. Now I spend the majority of my time at home. I just sit in my old, rickety chair and wait for the Grim Reaper to take me, or for the landlord to come and kick me out of my house. Whoever comes first, I don't really care. I hold no ill will towards Diana. She's still a kid, after all. I only hope she won't make any similar mistakes ever again. What do you think about this story? Tell us in the comments. Leave likes, share your opinion on Diana and Mr. Semzite's problem. See you next time.